Hi! This is going to be unscripted because I've been too busy to actually draft a script. But I want to talk about Midsommar. I know it's not entirely book related. I have been reading the script though, so that's how I'm justifying it, is I've been reading the script. But I want to talk about Midsommar because I've seen it twice already, and it's only been out for like 2 weeks, so it's a good movie. The basic premise, if you just look up on a movie theater website looking at times, this is what the movie theater will tell you, is that a group of students from America go to Sweden with a Swedish exchange student back to his, they call it a commune, it's a cult. They go back to his home commune in Sweden, and hilarity ensues. Just kidding. Insanity ensues. The visual aspects were very cool. It was very rare to have a darkly lit scene, which is something you see a lot in horror. This was shot mostly in daylight. I read reviews that said that caught people off guard and people found it unsettling. It didn't bother me too much, but it was an incredibly stressful movie. I spent a couple days before watching it the first time just looking up content warnings and what does the parents guide say, because I went into Hereditary cold. Like, I knew nothing about the movie. My friends had just messaged me earlier in the day and were like, hey, we're going to see Hereditary, do you want to come with us? And I'm like, sure, horror movies, sounds great. And I was in over my head a little bit, but I still thought it was a good movie, so I wanted to give Midsommar a shot. The content warnings, the big ones are animal abuse, which you don't actually see. You see the aftermath. I read a lot of critics and maybe even audience members who wrote reviews after the fact that said that if you have post-traumatic stress disorder, this may not be the movie for you. There might be triggers for PTSD. It did spike my anxiety. It was a very stressful movie. I think I already said that. But I could sit through it. I'm just going to say watch at your own discretion if you have PTSD or some kind of mental illness that can get triggered easily. The main character goes through a trauma at the beginning that has nothing to do with the actual horror aspects of the film. It's connected, but not directly. Like, the fact that she experiences this trauma is why she experiences and interacts with the world the way she does. It's why her story is the way it is. That's the reason why she gets the ending she gets. Ari Aster does his research, so I looked up a lot of the stuff a lot of the rituals that were mentioned or explored in the film, and they were fairly accurate to, like, Norse customs back in the day, so I was impressed. I can't stop thinking about the movie, which is why I'm doing a video on it. I haven't touched on the gore, actually. So the gore, it's not gory, but there's gore, and those are my friend's words, not mine. Like, after the second viewing, I was talking like it was gory, and she was like, no, and then in hindsight, I have to agree, there is gore, it's not gory. Anyway, moderate gore. I can't do gore well. There were a couple of moments where I had to go like, ugh, and just like cover my eyes, and that was good enough. This isn't a typical horror movie. I mean, it follows some tropes of horror, like there's the return of the repressed with like this main character and her trauma. I don't know if she necessarily repressed it, but it definitely was, there was a haunting aspect to it that, in my experience, scholars have talked about as the return of the repressed, and there could be some repression there just because she's trying to be okay. She's trying to hold it together best she can around her boyfriend and peers. Her boyfriend's a shithead, by the way. He gets his due. Pretty much everyone in that movie gets their due in some way, I think. Let's talk about the color palette. What was interesting was, first of all, like, that Swedish exchange student wasn't the only one who does that. Like, they send out Swedish exchange students. They just send out Swedish exchange students. I don't know why I can't say Swedish exchange student. It is very hard. Okay, but like, so these other exchange students are also going out and bringing people back. All the outsiders are wearing like actual color. It's color, so greens, reds, blues, but it's very dull. It's a very dull color. I'm not sure what the meaning behind that is. The people living in the Swedish commune, they're all pretty much wearing white with like accent, like it's accented blue, like around the neck and on the shoulders, like seams. Towards the end, all the women are wearing flower crowns, and their outfits are very bright. The white and just the blue trim, it's all blue, and then all the flowers are bright colors, and then like everything around in the landscape is also very bright. So it's an interesting contrast to see these American students in their dull colors, and then see these commune members in bright white, and then surrounded by bright green, bright blue, brown, and just foliage, bright foliage. My conclusion is Midsommar is a good movie if you like horror movies, but again, even if you do like horror movies, I would watch it at your own discretion because of animal cruelty, possible mental illness triggers. The gore might be too much for some people. Personally, I have 5 out of 5 stars. Good story writing, good cinematography. I guess I'll see you later. Bye. I like how my eyes flash. I'm like an anime character now.